Hello, and welcome to the Movie Effect. Today I'm discussing Carl Strathie's 2019 movie Dark Encounter, starring Laura Fraser and Mel Rado. Now this is a film that borrows from so many predecessors in terms of style, composition, and overall mood. Many titles spring to mind. Close Encounters of the Third Kind obviously is the quintessential science fiction drama, but also films like Fire in the Sky, Communion starring Christopher Walken, and many other films that have touched on this kind of subject matter in the past. At the heart of Dark Encounter is a very somber and serious attempt to depict a family drama. And the film doesn't pull any punches on that. It really takes its time to set the scene and set up several very important relationships and dynamics within this family and the group of friends associated with them that turn out to be pivotal in terms of the story being told.
Billy doesn't face his fears, just runs. Ain't that right, Billy?
Yeah, right, that's right.
And so we're thrown right into the middle of this very complicated and nuanced family dynamic. But before we know it, strange events start occurring both inside and outside the house in which they live. And of course this is where the science fiction element of the film comes into play. And I want to draw your attention in particular to the sound and mainly the way lighting is used to tell this story. The composition of each shot in this film has been so carefully thought about, and there's such clear depth of field and rendering of light that fades according to the distance from the camera, that we could almost be watching a cartoon or a computer-generated movie in which literally every element in the frame has been meticulously and computationally defined. Now, good and experienced editors will tell you that the key to creating dynamic tension and scenes that work is eye line, eye contact, and reactions in shots. And Dark Encounter is a really nice example.
Turn around and went the other way.
You were running at them with an axe.
Now, Dark Encounter is a science fiction movie, and it's a rare film that takes itself very, very seriously. And so at some point, of course, when all these fantastical events are occurring, there is a degree to which you have to suspend your disbelief and buy into the premise of the movie. If you do that, you're in for a real treat in this case. The overwhelming use of sound and risers and very cinematic special effects and lighting really bring a lot of drama and I thought emotion into this story. And I'm always delighted to see genre movies that tell serious stories.
Look, I don't think this is what people can know about right now. Not for you or your family's sake. Not the lights in the sky.
I want to draw particular attention to Laura Fraser's performance in this film. She plays the mother in the family. And it's a largely wordless performance. She does have a few lines, but the script of Dark Encounter is fairly judicious with giving lines to characters. And I think this is such a nuanced and powerful performance, and I really recommend you check it out. Again, nice character interplay and reaction shots with very little actually being said. And Strathie, the director, really takes his time to render these moments between characters throughout the running time of Dark Encounter. And arguably overdoes it in a couple of places. There were a few shots, I felt, that went on longer than they needed to. But for the most part, it's a very sensitively rendered family drama.
This other lady was different. It was right. Within the light, I saw.
Who? Who'd you see?
Probably a testament to Strathie's direction, that the emotional beats that all the characters have, and they all have a few beats to get across, are pretty much nailed across the board. One thing that's really remarkable about Dark Encounter is that it is essentially an all-British production. It was filmed at a small studio in North Yorkshire in the United Kingdom and features an almost exclusively British cast. So every actor that we see in this movie is affecting an American accent. And I'll tell you what, if I hadn't read that in my analysis of the film that I did after watching the movie, because I always read reviews after watching the film, I probably would never have guessed. Moreover, the film is entirely shot in northern England. So all the forest scenes, the house, all the dressing of the street with street signs and the use of vehicles has all been set up using props and costume work and character acting and accents to affect an American location, which was actually shot entirely in England. Excellent filmmaking. Now, if you've seen any past editions of the movie Effect, you'll know that one of my central tenets of filmmaking is that a movie should build to a powerful emotional climax. And Dark Encounter is no exception. The build-up with special effects and the supernatural goings-on of the film certainly is suggestive of a story that's building to something very powerful. And we cue then to a bravura sequence, I feel, about an hour into the film, which essentially gives us the major emotional reveal of the movie. But it does so using elements of some of the greatest mythological sort of classics, both in literature and film. We're pitched into a kind of a twilight world, a purgatorial netherland, where our central character, again, it all pivots around the mother. And again, the director leans heavily on Laura to show us, through entirely visual acting and reaction shots, the great, profound revelations that she's experiencing during this very powerful piece of climactic cinematic filmmaking. I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. There really isn't a weak performance in this film. Mel Rado as the father figure, a man with antagonistic relationship dynamics with almost every other character in the film, gives a really nice and quite intense performance. And again, a very nice American accent from an English actor. I would say the film could probably be edited down by a good 10 or 15 minutes, and I think would have resulted in a slightly tighter and possibly a film that would have been more well received by critics had it done so. But for me, they're very minor points. This is such a powerful film, and anyone who's edited before will know that killing your babies can be a very difficult thing to do. So in summation then, Dark Encounter is a science fiction drama with such naked ambition, with the goal of telling such a powerful story and making such a profound observation about the human condition. I can only applaud the filmmakers for pulling this off. Now, Carl Strathie's 2018 film Solace went out on Netflix. For me, was a less successful movie narratively. It didn't quite work, though again, a very nicely produced film. In this case, Dark Encounter, as far as I'm concerned, he and his team pretty much knock this one out of the park. It's a beautifully written, wonderfully shot, and very well scored movie. The music soundtrack is extremely effective in conveying the drama and the magic of this film. I highly recommend you check it out. I think it's an important modern entry in the science fiction canon.